Okay, so as you can see, I'm using one of my demo accounts, which is connected to a Microsoft Exchange account. So during the session, if I'll mention something that's specific for Microsoft Exchange, I'll say that. Otherwise, it'll be just for everybody, Gmail and Comcast and all the other types of accounts you all use. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is in this section is we're going to go to File up at the top and come down to the bottom where it says Options in the lower left bottom there. The options is where I do a lot of the configuring and customizing that folks want with what I'm going to cover here. So this is important to know. When you have a minute, take a minute and go through each one of these sections because there might be something that you didn't know was in there and that you can turn on or off or whatever. So the first thing I'm going to do is in the general up here, come down to the middle and scroll down just a little bit. There's this thing called startup options. A lot of folks don't know. This is a new feature in Outlook that started with the last couple updates. When you go to close Outlook, and then you open it back up, it'll say, do you want to reopen the emails that you had when it closed? A lot of people find that annoying. So it's all right over here in startup options and come over here and just say never reopen. If I happen to catch it for clients, I ask them if they want it turned on or off. Most people don't want it. Next thing is over here is the mail tab. And in mail, this is where most of the work people want is the signatures is right there and stationery and fonts. So if you click on stationery and fonts, new messages, you can actually change the font size. So like for me, I'm over 50. I like it a little bit bigger and because of my monitors. So you can come down over here and switch it to a 14 font. That seems to be better if you have two big monitors and don't want to wear your glasses. I found that out. Then you can hit OK. And then down here in replying, you can also change it to 14 as well. This does change the font for the people who read it. So that's something you might want to consider. It does do inbound, outbound. All right, then we're going to hit OK. And you'll see the font change when I'm done here. And then let's see what else we got in here. Here's also where you can add some custom themes, but most people that are heavy emailers just want the standard what Outlook gives them. All right, over there. And then over here in this advanced section, this is where there's a lot more things you can do in here. A lot of people don't know to look. Here's reminders, pop-ups, and some other settings. Typically, I don't do much over here except change when Outlook opens. Typically, people want it to be their inbox. Sometimes it's the whole mailbox, and you would pick that right there. Then it would bring up all the options for the to-do bars and things like that. All right, and then in the Trust Center settings, you can uncheck this box or check it. If you have it unchecked, it shows pictures, and a lot of people don't know, and they end up just seeing red X's the whole time. So if you don't want to see the red X and see the real pictures, just come over here and uncheck that box. So it'll look like that. And I'm going to hit cancel. And then over here in the add-ins, some of you have seen me come in here. This is the COM add-ins and hit go. This is where you can turn off some of the applications if Outlook is giving you issues. As you can see here, iCloud is a big one. I typically don't have iCloud installed, but I was doing a test for somebody. So, this is where you can come check iCloud and try to fix it that way. But none of these are really necessary with Outlook, except if you're doing something particular with one program that's requiring it. All right, hit cancel. And now that whole button goes away, that whole options box. So another thing I'm going to show you over here is the search at the top of Outlook. The search got moved with a couple features ago with Outlook. So if you see your search up at the very top, you should have the latest Outlook. If you see the search like down in this area over here, then you have an update coming. And if you see the search on the far right over here still, you definitely have an older version of Outlook and be prepared at some point to upgrade. So just to recap, the search over here is older. This one around this area is not updated, and this is the current Outlook with the new features. And another thing some people like is they want maybe 2 windows open for Outlook. So all you need to do is if you, let's say, want to use your calendar over here and you want to have a window open for that, you can right click and open a new window, and then it pops open a new window for you. So you can have one open here, one open there, and go back and forth. You can probably have one open for contacts too. I just have never done 3 of them. All right. So that's section number 1. Is there any questions before I move on? All right, no questions. So if you have a question while I'm doing it, just go ahead, doing the workshop, go ahead and just post it in there and I'll check. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is views and settings and things like that. A lot of people want these, what's called conditional formatting. So if you take your mouse over here in the navigation bar and right click, you can go to view settings. You can also get here by going to view at the top and then view settings over here. It's the same thing. Over here, I typically don't do too much with all of these except for these 2 right here. Other settings, this is where you can change the font size of the columns and rows. Just click on that. And let's just hit 14 again. And a lot of people like their own fonts and, you know, the bolding and all that. You can change it right there. Column, we're going to do 14 as well. And then over here's the message preview. You change it to 14. And then I don't mess around with this stuff usually. And then hit OK. Then before I hit the OK button, I'm going to come to conditional. Now this is for some people who want like a different color instead of black or blue. You can just hit this font button and I'm going to go to big. Over here, for some reason, it doesn't give you the font size. But we're going to come over here and just pick blue. Like I think it's supposed to be the other blue. So anyway, now you can change that to be preferred. You can also add some new rules for the colors. Some people really like using all these features there. I'm going to hit OK and hit OK. And now everything just changed, got a lot bigger. And now you got your bold. This means it's on red. And a lot of people really like these things there. Okay, so another thing I'm going to show you is Microsoft also by default, which you don't know maybe, is it does this show focused inbox when you first set up Outlook. It's right here in the view tab, show focused inbox. So right here it says focused another. And I really like to control what email I think is important. And so I like turning this focused inbox off because you already have a junk spam folder and you already have, well, someone just jumped in. I'm going to let them in, but give me a sec here, quick. Okay. She's on mute. But yeah, so Outlook already by default has a spam filter and a junk folder, and then your server might have it. So I like turning this off. You just come to view and then turn it off right there. And now you can come back to your all and unread again like normal. And a lot of people, this is what they're used to, and that's what they want back. All right, so now over here in this bar, this is another, oops, we got to turn someone's camera off. There we go. Okay. Now over here, this is a ribbon. Okay, we see right here, you can right click and we can use simplified, which is the newer ribbon, which a lot of people, my users don't like it. They want the old way because this is kind of, you know, it's a little bit more to go do things. So you can come back over here, right click, use classic, and then the, oh, I got to mute someone there. Okay. So I'm sorry, right click and you can choose the 2 ribbons, and over here you can customize the ribbon. So some folks, let me try to get into a better, here we go. So let's say I have some people that really want to use more of the ribbon for their customizing. So there's usually some add-ons over here that Outlook might have, or you might have installed something. So you can just right click and go to customize. And this is the home right here. You can see the word home. That's what this is. And you can see language is not something I need because I don't do much translating. So you can just click on it and hit remove. And at that point, it takes it away from the bar up there. And you can, of course, add other things. Some people really have a lot of applications. So at that point, you'd come over here and go to all commands, and you could just go ahead and add whatever you like and hit the add button right there. Now, this is sometimes confusing, customizing groups. I'm not going to get into that, but typically you just add it to a new group there. I'm going to hit cancel there. Now there is a new feature in Outlook. If you can see, I'm already using it. It's the sidebar view over here. Excuse me. I'm calling these blades. It just seems to work better for the Microsoft 365 environment. These over here used to be down below, which yours might still have it there because you have to actually turn on this feature. So if you come over to the top right of your Outlook, there's a coming soon button. Try it now on. If you see that, you can turn it on, close Outlook, relaunch it, and everything's going to be on the side over here. Now, I know a lot of people don't like these new, they didn't like when the search box got moved. They didn't like it when, when anything happens big, they don't like it. But I did not like it until I forced myself just to get over it, and I love it up there now. I didn't think I would, but I do. Everything I do is up here. This is what I consider all the money I make is right here. So everything needs to be in this range, and this makes it perfect. And I just feel like I'm not dragging my mouse down so much. So it's a little more efficient almost. What's kind of cool about this is the Outlook has the standard the standard navigation, or sorry, the icons there. And this I've never really used, but this is a shortcut to open up Word. Here's a shortcut to open up Excel. Not that you need it there because most of my clients have them all open anyway. You can add your notes, the PowerPoint, and down here, more apps. You click on it. And I'm going to tell you that Microsoft is going to add more, I can tell. This is just the start. I think they're just testing it just to see if people like it. But I've already added them all there, of course. But you can, I don't even know what this one does. But you can add them to this bar, and then you can pin it like I have here, like with this PowerPoint. I pinned it. I'm going to unpin it. Then you come over here again. You can open up PowerPoint and right click and pin it. So it's kind of neat. And I think this is really where Microsoft is going to start having people start to progress to, at one point in the future, Outlook, I don't think is going to exist. So they're going to make everybody be on the browser in time, I think. And this is probably how it's going to look. So it's kind of like a peek to the future. I'm thinking that's how they want it to be, but I'm not for sure on that. Okay, so that is the end of this section. Do we have any questions? I see there's one in the chat. How do you change the overall view to be larger? Zoom is something I'm not able to find anymore on the new laptop. Well, I'll show you with my mouse over here. The zoom is down here in the lower right, and you can see that sometimes you can't move it, and sometimes you can. This is doing that only. But I think if you want this entire Outlook to be larger, there's no more zoom up here anymore. I think you have to do it with the display settings to make it bigger. I did help a client a few weeks ago with a weird zoom, a setting, and right now I don't recall how to fix that, but it took us a little while to figure it out. But the display makes everything bigger with the computer. And if you need help with that, just shoot me an email afterwards and I'll see what I can do. All right, any more questions before I move on to the next section? All right. So the next batch of little tricks here. Oh, this one for sure only works with Microsoft Exchange, okay? So if you are using Gmail or Comcast or Yahoo or whatever, this will not work. Come up to your home button and go to a new email and come to the message area of the email over here. And you will see, if you're on Exchange, this view templates. These templates are stored on the server. So it'll work on online, it'll work on your Mac, it'll work on any computer that you have a Exchange account set up with. You can click on that here and you're going to see these templates, which I consider handy so you don't have to rewrite the same thing over and over. And all of you know, what I always send people is you can schedule time on my calendar, just click this link. I send that out 5 times a day probably. So I have a quick part I use for that, but these templates are also handy. And I'll show you how to make one. Just come down to template here. I'm just going to call it test 2. And here you can copy and paste whatever you like. It includes graphics and links and whatnot. And then just hit save. So now this is saved in your templates over here. And now I'm going to close this and come back up to do email. And you'll be like, hi, getting back to you. And then here, and then hit templates, and you can come click that and it fills it in. So it's kind of nice. It's handy if you're doing constant repeat messaging and whatnot. I'm going to hit no there. Now, for those folks that aren't on Exchange, you can still use a template feature. Open up a new email, and everything has to be in a new email in the body down here. So let's just say you're going to do a few more emails, and now you got your information here. You can highlight it all, come up to insert, quick parts. Then you can save selection to the gallery. This, whatever you type in here, is the words that'll show up when you start typing in the email to make it like a shortcut to the content you're doing. So I'm just going to do hello. So this is what you would type over here to make this that we just copied show up. Now, I learned from the last workshop that sometimes it takes time for this to generate, but this one did it automatically. But see, you can start typing and then hit enter and it'll do the quick part for you. So this is for non-Exchange people, and it works pretty well. As you can see, I already have a lot of these. It is based on the computer. So I have a bunch saved from the old profile I use for my own business. All right, I'm going to hit cancel there. Okay, another trick that a lot of people do not know about is in a new message down here. You can hit this dictate button. So my hand is off the mouse. I got 2 hands up and it is typing what I'm saying. It does a pretty good job. Period. New paragraph. And so now I could keep dictating and write whatever I wanted to. If I'm writing a book, this is kind of neat. Or if I want to write a long email explaining a process and I don't want to type it. Period. New paragraph. There you go. A lot of people like this. They didn't know they could do that. You can also do this on your phone. If you were to start an email and just put your phone up to your mouth, you could hit the dictate and it'll dictate the email as well. Sometimes I've thought maybe I should just send that email to myself and then I can edit it when it gets on my computer. So we're all on our phones quite a bit. Okay, I'm going to quit that now. There we go. All right. Another trick that a lot of people, some of my clients have lots of drafts going on. So I'm going to start another new email and we're just going to call this a draft to edit. And this might be something that you're working on for a week or so and you're not ready to send it. You can save it. And instead of constantly opening them, you can just click your drafts over here and come down to this section and just keep typing in the draft just over here so you don't have to open it. and keep, have too many tabs open. So yeah, I kind of like this. I work on this a lot. In my personal profile in Outlook, I have plenty of drafts going for lots of little projects and whatnot. Another little trick, as a lot of you know, is I am a fan of the favorites up here, but I'm not a fan of making every folder a favorite. I only like having certain folders a favorite. So one thing I do is I don't keep the inbox typically as a favorite because it's right here at the top. So you can right click and just remove it. Now the default for Outlook comes with sent, delete, drafts, kind of all the system structure folders. But like I said, I only want the ones that aren't in my viewing site up here. So I'm going to remove that too and remove the drafts. Now there's none there, but you can come down here and pick another folder. I'm going to put the to-do maybe and add it to favorites, and it's up here. A lot of my clients love rules. They have lots of folders and lots of rules. So let's say you have a rule that's populating like payments and you want to make sure you can see it quick. That would be a good folder to put up here in the favorites. And let's say you don't want, oh, I'm hearing the storm come. If you don't want any favorites, you can just come up to view, folder pane, and just uncheck that. Now it goes away. All right, I'm going to take a minute and look through my notes, make sure I didn't miss anything here. Go ahead and ask any questions. I see a few more in the chat there. I'm going to take a quick review. Okay. Before I forget, I'm going to handle a couple more things because I don't want to forget. These I would naturally cover in the email management tips, but I think a lot of you are already power users and you might like to know this. So let's say you get an email from somebody and you're like, I have to get back to this person. I'm going to forget. They need it by Thursday, or maybe they've been bothering you for a reply and you keep ignoring it because you don't know what to do. And I think people find that most common. So one thing I like to show folks is just to get something out of your inbox and to, so you can manage the task, take the email, reply back to the person. I got your email. I will reply back by end of business on Thursday, and Thursday here, and then hit send, just so you can tell them that there's going to be something expecting, you replied back, you're responsive. Then what you can do is take this email and you can drag it to the calendar. And now the calendar event has all the information from the email in it. Okay, this is kind of nice, especially if it's a one-off thing you're not going to need forever. Then you can set the time and date for it right here. And I think it automatically has a reminder on it. And then just hit save and close. So now this actually becomes a calendar event. You can delete that email if you don't want it. You can see you do get a pop-up reminder. And then here on the calendar, it shows up right here. And then you just open it and everything is in here. So it's also searchable in your Outlook. So it's kind of a way to take care of it, delete it, move on, but then you still have it in your calendar for when you want to get it done. As well, these emails, you can also do the same thing for a task, because the task doesn't take up your calendar space, but it just puts a reminder in. So it's good for those people that like using the task feature or the to-do bar. Or you can drag it to the people and you can actually make this a person, which is kind of neat because it includes all the information. So one thing like the old business contact manager people used to love was the notes and history of all the emails. Unfortunately, they took away that feature, which was really sad. A lot of people loved it. This is the next best thing if you want to keep all the information from an email thread. And then just put in their name, email, phone number, and hit save and close. I've been doing this quite frequently with my contacts from my email. All right, I'm going to answer a couple questions now. Okay, the next one was, I had a lot of older emails disappear after I resubscribed to 365. Are they still available? They might be. So some of my clients use POP in Outlook. And that's all they've ever used, because that's really what Outlook only used to have, like way back in the day, was a POP account. Then they started using IMAP a lot more. You might have a POP server and an IMAP server, which is very common. So your Comcast account would have a different amount of email in each one. It's really the same server, but it's just is different. So what you might want to do is, let's see, go log into your Comcast account and go see what you see there. If it doesn't match your Outlook, then it has to be reconfigured to match up. And they should be there. Or vice versa. Maybe you set up your IMAP and you're missing all your POP because it was in an Outlook PST that you don't know and you didn't add it. It's very possible. But I can help with that. Another question is, I use Gmail and they put a lot of mail and promotions within Outlook. Can I get that feature? I do not believe you can turn on the promotions tab in Outlook. You can turn on the important, but maybe you can get promotions, but it does. I've never seen it ever. That or the social tab. I've never seen those in Outlook. So if I might actually think about seeing if I can add that. That's a good question. So I will look into that when I'm done with the training, or this weekend rather. So let me go write that down. Gmail promotions. There we go. Write that down here. Gmail promotions. Okay. Well, that's why a lot of people love Outlook, though, is basically the Outlook inbox gets everything. It doesn't have that spam feature that the Gmail would have. All right, so let me go look at my notes, and then I think because I took out the email management tips, which it can be a lot. That's why I'm going to do a whole workshop on it. So if you were expecting that today, I'm sorry, but I'm going to do another workshop in July probably for that. I think I got it all though. If anybody has any more questions, feel free to throw one in the chat right now. I'll cover a few search tips. A lot of people, they have a lot of folders or they have a lot of email in the inbox. You decide which one you are, because there's only like 2 types I've learned. So the people that like using search, up here, I'm back to my computer now. In the search area at the top, you can see that it does the current mailbox by default. You can change it to all Outlook items also, and then it'll also search all your mail accounts and your PST files. So I'm just going to put this here and just type the word Microsoft and hit enter. And then over here, you're going to see it does the searching, and it shows the yellow, of course, as it does by default. This in folder is very important for people who are big search people, because if, let's say you have a lot of folders, like some of my clients have like 100 or more, and you don't know where an email is, if you go search, it'll tell you where the email is right here. You can add this in folder by right-clicking and going to field chooser. And then in frequently used, it is in all document fields, and this is where it would be. Any of these fields, you can actually take them and drag it to this bar. So it shows up over here if there was, wherever that feature is. You can also take one and move it back over here. So a lot of people are like, oh, you know what, at least I don't like this mentions and I don't need categories. I don't use them. So you can right click, go to field chooser, take categories and drag it, and it goes away. Take mentions and also drag that and go away. I don't know anybody that uses mentions like at all. I don't know what it's there for. All right, got a question. Yes, I will send you a message because I can't email the group anymore after this workshop, but if I can find a way to add the promotions, I will look for you. Okay, so yes, a lot of people, when I'm doing a lot of heavy contact work with their contacts, they like this field chooser right here. This gets a lot more data and information. And you might want to spend a little time looking in here. You might like to change up some of yours also right over there. And also some people, they don't need this, the date, these little icons. The attachments is nice, but it's up to you. It's just, again, a preference on how people like their Outlook. And let's see if there's anything else here. I think that's it, folks. The last session had about 3 or 4 times the amount of people, and there was a lot more questions, so I'm not shocked it didn't go a full hour. Does anybody have any more questions? I got a couple more here. How do you save the search results after a search? Good question. So down here in search folders in the lower left of your Outlook bar, all Outlook versions, it doesn't matter if you use Gmail or IMAP or Exchange, it includes search folders here. So if you right click, you can make a new search folder. And over here, you can see there's many, many options for different searches. Okay, you can come in here and, make your own and see what you want to do. But most of my clients want me to go find a large email. So as you can tell, I've done this a few times already. You can find mail with attachments with specific words might be what you're looking for. And you can, again, come in here and go pick some words. You can see I use a lot of Microsoft words here. And there's Microsoft, and then hit OK. So now this one over here, the new search folder, mail with specific words, the word Microsoft, hit OK. And now you can see over here it says containing Microsoft. That is a saved search. Does that answer your question, or were you thinking something else? Yay! Yeah, all right. Someone asked, sorry, so perhaps she answers, this computer and Outlook, I've had a lot of difficulty with your internet provider settings in the past. Yeah, let me tell you that this computer only is, if you're seeing those in a lot of your folders, those folders are not on a server. They're only in that Outlook profile. That means they're kind of broken. Okay. So a lot of people call me and they're like, Lisa, I'm having issues. And I tell them anything with the paragraph with this computer only is definitely a broken folder, and I can help you repair it. The only way to repair it I know of is to make a copy of it and copy it and then see if you see it on the server in your phone. And if so, then delete the other one after you're done. But I usually am preventative and back up all the emails first before I do any of that, because I don't know what's going to go on. That's, me, I always back up. Big backer upper. Let me see if I have any more things about the search. This is kind of a cool tip. When you're in your folders or your list over here, oh, no problem. When you're in your list over here, you can right click and go to find related. I use this a lot because I have a lot of PST files. I have probably about 10. I don't use them all at the same time, but sometimes I'm like, where's that one email from somebody from 5 years ago? You can right click and say find related in this conversation or from the sender. The sender goes and finds it for you too. So it's kind of a quick search like trick. Or you can pick right click and say find related from this conversation. Then it picks up all the weekly digests. And that's kind of a cool thing. I really love, I use it quite frequently. Yes. So the, this computer only issue, that's going to probably be a little bit of work if it's severely broken. If you've got lots of them, that means something broke and everything this computer only is not on your server. And they're kind of just in the wild there for Outlook. I'm actually going to be making a video on this computer only. So if you want to wait and watch the video, you're more than welcome. I'm not going to go into a deep tutorial, but I'm going to cover it, a video just for that. All right, folks, I think I'm going to wind down the workshop here. If you got any final questions, so far some good ones there. And of course, you can always email me quick questions if you got anything. I'm pretty fast with my responses to my folks there. All right. Well, let's see. I think that's it. Oh, Thank you guys. I had a great session tonight. It is Friday night. A lot of people were like, no one's going to come to the session, and they did. So I might have some more later in the evening. Thanks again, folks, for attending. See you.